The fact that you can get this guitar for under $1,000 if you're learning how to play, like I would have loved to learn how to play on this.
Usually for parts of a show, I would actually bring 2 guitars and use a different guitar for a certain song. But the cool thing is you could get the whole job done with just this guitar.
This kind of hits all the marks, and it looks really cool.
Yanni Reinecke. I'm a professional musician based in Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah, so one thing I really like about this guitar a lot is the neck itself. And the wide thin makes it super easy for me to play slide with the 10-inch radius. Because, you know, if you get more vintage spec, the curve makes it a little harder to fret the slide. And this is just super easy and pleasant to play when it comes to playing slide. For the type of music that I play, I'm mainly country, and you know, that can either be clean, sort of twangy stuff, or heavy gain nowadays. This guitar handles both really well. So if I'm playing a clean sound, I get the sparkle and the spank kind of thing that I want from it for the traditional country stuff. But if I'm playing a more rockish type of tune, you know, I can roll the volume up and gain it up and it still sounds great. I'm not scared of top end. I like a little treble, I like sparkle. I can get all of that out of this guitar without it sounding muddy. As a player here in town, I play a lot of the venues and the power is not great. So if you're playing single coil guitar, there's gonna be a lot of hum and buzz coming from the 60 cycle, and this guitar really remedies that with these pickups. You know, they sound like single coils, they have all the clarity that you could want, but all the benefits of a humbucker. So for me to truly trust a guitar, I want it to stay in tune. So whether I'm walking downtown to my gig or if I'm hopping on a plane or a bus, you know, dealing with different weather and climates, I want it to take it out of the case and be able to stay in tune. And that's what these guitars do. What I really like about instruments that I connect with is they got a ring like a bell. Acoustically, without the amp, I want them to be loud and resonate. And when I plug them in, I want them to be clear. I want to hear every note. And that's pretty much the criteria. I don't want it to be too stiff feeling either. So this one kind of checks all those boxes for me. The fact that this is an SC is almost astonishing because it's getting harder and harder to tell the difference. Personally, I think this is my 3rd SC, and I play them all the time, and they stack up just right with the core ones, you know what I mean? And the fact that you can get this guitar for under $1,000 if you're learning how to play, like I would have loved to learn how to play on this. You know what I mean? So if you can get something that's easy to play, it makes you want to play, it's a great thing, and they're doing just great work.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Mike Miz. I'm a singer-songwriter / guitar player and based out of Nashville, Tennessee. So the NF3 is a great fit for what I do. I've always leaned towards more of a single coil guitar for writing and for, playing, for lack of a better term, Americana music. But this guitar not only does that, but also does a lot more. So when I need like a more meatier tone or need to do a screaming guitar solo, with a bunch of overdrive and delay, you can get sustain out of this guitar, a little more beef than you could with a single coil guitar. And that's the big reason for me why I immediately fell in love with it. It's also about the way it feels. I don't like a lot of finish on the back of the neck, and I love how this has that unfinished feel to it. Also the radius on this I love. This has the 10-inch radius, which I feel like for me, like when you're doing certain bends, it's a much more appealing feel to me. Usually for parts of a show, I would actually bring two guitars and use a different guitar for a certain song. But the cool thing is, like, especially when you're like flying around a lot, you can kind of get the whole job done with just this guitar. As far as the sound and the pickups go, I just think Paul knocked it out of the park, because one of my favorite pickup settings is this in-between one right here, like what you would find on a single coil free pickup guitar. And I play a lot of the gig either I love the middle pickup on this guitar or this setting or that setting, but you can get that spanky single coil sound, but it's just has so much more depth and body to it. This might sound strange too, but I feel like certain guitars just have a vibe, but as soon as I picked it up, it just had that like feel and mojo to it. So I plugged it into like a vintage tube amp that I had and immediately figured out that the pickup configuration, the sound of the pickups, the sound of the humbuckers, the fact that they're really quiet sounding pickup, it just started checking off all these boxes in my mind within the first 20 minutes of playing it. Like, I couldn't put it down. And after like an hour of playing, I was like, this kind of is my dream guitar, and I didn't even realize it.
Zach Robertson. I'm a professional touring musician based out of Nashville, Tennessee. Genre-wise, I kind of span a lot from traditional country all the way up to heavy rock, hard rock, metal, classic rock, and early 2000s rock. I just think the SE NF3 is a great guitar. You can cover every bass with it. You can stay back here on the treble pickup and get screaming gain if you want to. You can add the middle pickup and kind of mellow it out. You can go all the way up to the neck and get that really creamy 80s lead tone. It does it. It stays in tune. The tremolo works great. You can do all the fun dive bombs if you want to. With it being a bolt-on neck, you can really get a lot of sparkle, especially out of the treble pickup. It's got a good jangle in the bridge. The neck is really creamy, really a lot of sustain there. Spank and sustain is the two that I would characterize the best. I make the majority of my living playing country with a good amount of gain, and that requires, in a lot of spaces, a single coil pickup. Single coil and gain, usually, especially in a live setting, isn't the greatest thing in the world, and these eliminate all of those problems. I can get the exact tone I'm looking for without having to chase the 60-cycle hum to get away from it. You can focus on playing rather than trying to keep your guitar quiet. Personally, I'm looking for a guitar that stays in tune, that wears well when you're standing up, that doesn't weigh a ton. because being in Nashville, I also play live around town a good bit, playing 4-hour sets. You can play 8 hours if you want to, and you don't start having the dip. I really enjoy the neck shape. It's really comfortable, really getting severe hand fatigue. And really sweaty stages, it doesn't get sticky. It doesn't feel anything less than the highest quality. It being under $1,000 is quite surprising, even for me, knowing what PRS produces. This kind of hits all the marks, and it looks really cool.